Okay, so here I am about to mix a hip hop record for a friend of mine. He sent me the stems, I brought them in, and I'm at the point where I'm organizing and I'm really about to start the mix. So what I did is, all my drums are from here to here. I got my, kicks say from here to here, as you can see. But every type of instrument or element is in the same area. I do like to use colors. May sound kind of preschool, but I don't care. It makes my life easier. So let me see. Let's do that. Sure. Guitars. Guitar. I think I've done a pretty good job uh, organizing these files. This is the sample. Okay, so um, guitars are usually yellow in my world. I don't know why. I just make guitars yellow. I think I'll make them a little darker because that's just too bright for me. Samples, I don't know, guys. I never make them green. I never make anything green because green is my aux inputs. What is this? Right? What is this? I'm also seeing whether it's better to use. You know what? I should probably put the mic a little closer to myself. There we go. Although I'm sure my little fox, my little biodynamic fox, was doing a good job. I'm trying to see whether I should wear these headphones or the Beats that the big cousin gave me. So, I'm a little scared. Those are the Beats Studio. I would never use the Beats, the wireless Beats for this because there's going to be too much signal processing and it's not going to give me a true reading of what I'm doing, and it's going to have more bass, which means my mix is actually going to have less bass. So I'm gonna be real disappointed when I A/B it in the car. A/B means like go from speakers A to speaker B is kind of where that came from, but A/B means to check your mix or your song or whatever in another environment, right? I'm gonna A/B it in the car. I usually do that. Everybody usually does that. The car is always a good place, especially if you have a good sound system in the car. Uh-huh. This is a really cool track, yo. It's old school hip hop. You're about to hear it. I like it. Okay, that's piano. So this is also a sample. So let's just say, bow. You know what I'm saying? Piano. I think that's the only piano that we have. I can really go to some colors I've used so far. It doesn't matter because if it's not anywhere close, like if I use that color down here, it doesn't really matter. I gotta find a way to hear myself while I'm doing this. I'll figure that out at some point. Okay, so oh, okay. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna call it a synth, right? I'm gonna say that these are synths. I'm gonna say that those are synths. This is what is that again? That's gonna be my synths. Yeah, yeah. Horns. These horns are actually pretty cool, and they sound live. So I don't know if my boy like played these joints or what, but nice.
See, life moves fast, you gotta slow it down.
All right, cool. So this is actually not supposed to be there. Oh, I wonder if that's the same thing. Let's just solo these guys. Uh,
Moves fast, you gotta slow it down. And it won't last, so don't blow it now. At the end of the day, you gotta take it.
I think I'm gonna leave that stereo for now. I split some of these into mono. Let's do that. I think I'm gonna use both of those as stereo. These, however, I don't think I'm gonna do that. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to get rid of this and that, this and that, this and that, this and that. This is the stereo version of these two. I basically split this into two monos because it's the same thing. It doesn't need to be stereo, so I can just deal with them in mono. That might be something I want to leave stereo. Let's hide these first, just to. I needed to visually. Okay, see, now I know that these guys should be next to each other, and these guys should be next to each other. This is probably going to be panned left and right. Left and right, yeah. Let's see what this is.
One step at a time until the finish line. They call it the present because the gift is time. Keep your eyes on the road so you don't miss the signs. You ain't useful in neutral, you gotta shift the drive.
Tell him, homie. I'll let you guys know who the rapper is, so you can follow him. Let's see.
One step at a time until the finish line. They call it.
Okay, so this is the dub. That is the main verse. So what we're gonna do is split this, split into mono. And we're going to get rid of the stereo one and one of the monos. Bam. That's the verse, that's the dub. So what is this? Verse. Okay, this is another verse. So it might be something where I put it left and right with a dub in the middle.
One step at a time until the finish line.
Okay, so this is basically the other side of this. All right, so if I pan this left and right, I should get pretty much the same thing coming out of both sides.
One step at a time until the finish line. They call it the present because the gift is time. Keep your eyes on the road so you don't miss the signs. You ain't useful in neutral, you gotta shift the drive. The only.
Okay, that's exactly the same thing. So that's not another performance. That's just the same thing. So we're gonna bring that down to that. It's a cool little intro. It's a really positive joint. I really like the way it's
and that's important for all of us. Happiness is not something you can just find every day. It takes work. It takes commitment. It takes time.
All right, so those is the vocals. Now my vocal tracks are usually down here in my template. So I gotta see how I want to do that. But I'm really working on the track first anyway, so there's actually more than one approach to mixing for me. And I use different approaches at different times. Like sometimes I'll mix the drums, then the vocals, and then everything else around that. Sometimes I'll mix the whole track and then bring the vocals in. I don't know what I'll do this time. I'll know as I go along, but we shall see. Shift Alt. Mute all selected files, tracks, whatever you want to call them. These guys should be up here because eventually I am going to bounce this when I'm done. So here's our reference. Let's listen to the ref as in any sport. You know what I'm saying? Listen to the ref.
And that's important for all of us. Happiness is not something you can just find every day. It takes work, it takes commitment, it takes time.
Just trying to remain patient, you know, and take it day by day. So life moves fast, you gotta slow it down. And it won't last, so don't blow it down. At the end of the day, you gotta take it. See, life moves fast, you gotta slow it down. And it won't last, so don't blow it down. At the end of the day, you gotta take it.
One step at a time until the finish line. They call it the present because the gift is time. Keep your eyes on the road so you don't miss the signs. You ain't useful and neutral, you gotta shift the drive. The only language of the universe is energy. Balance is harmony of serenity, symmetry. So everything is aligning right where it needs to be. I just follow the stars home like TMZ. My frequency is attuned to channel ancient wisdom. I ain't making mistakes, I only make decisions. Life could change overnight, depends if you believe. Only your day separates the winter from the spring. A couple of homies that seen a couple bodies. Then asked me if God can forgive the ungodly. I told him that every soldier was born a slave, but you still gotta pray the pain away every day.
Life moves fast, you gotta slow it down. And it won't last, so don't blow it down. At the end of the day, you gotta take it. See, life moves fast, you gotta slow it down. And it won't last, so don't blow it down. At the end of the day, you gotta take it.
1,440 minutes at a time. We get to live it, but it was all written by design. Every second is precious, so don't let it go to waste. Learn a lesson from Nipsey, gotta hustle, motivate. You with controlling your fate and everything around you.
Alright. So you see, it's like old school, it's hip hop, it's grimy, it's grungy. I don't want to lose that for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So actually, let me put this here. Because in listening to these things, what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out what is the intention of the producer, of the writer, of the performer for each track. Like, what context is it supposed to be in? And I'm trying to figure that out because that'll very much determine a lot of what I do when it comes to mixing. Mixing can make a song perfect and it can mess a song up. So, not bog down my computer too much. I need all that. Okay. Mixing, you know, you're taking somebody's baby and you're like dressing it up. So, you know, if what you think it's supposed to look like ain't what the parent thinks it's supposed to look like, then there's a problem. You know, I don't really like songs starting from zero. So let me. He gave me the tempo. Let me see. I think it's 86.5. Where is that? Where is that? Okay. Why is it hard for me to find that? All right. Let's see. 86.5. All right. 86.5 is le tempo. All right. Cool. So as I listen to each track, you know, I'm like, okay, well, there's kicks right here. What are all these kicks for? Well, there's really no way to know unless you listen to each one of them. And you have somewhat the mind of a producer to understand what you would do with that kick. I don't know where that's going. Oh, duh. Okay, so that's giving me some Oh. Okay, so you hear that there's a backbeat, right? Okay. Thinking of a few ways I could treat that. So that means anything here, kick-wise. So there's a click in one of these, as you can hear, which happens sometimes with samples. That was not the problem. Right. That's not the problem either, so it's got to be this one. So how do I want to fix that? I'm not about to cut every one of these up and get rid of the click in each one. Nah. So the first thing I'm gonna try is a simple EQ, because I'm only trying to get bass from this anyway, which is what looks like was the intention for this track. So what up? What up? It's good to hear from folk when they out there. You feel me? Hold on. So no, we don't want that. We want this. All right. Let's see what we got here. I mean, it's still a click, but it's not killing me. All right, hold on one second. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out where I should pause it from. And we're back. Okay. So here I'm cutting out high frequencies. Now, if I solo that, I'm gonna hear the click and it's gonna bother me. But in the whole song, you're really not gonna hear that click. That happens in hip hop all the time because of samples and the fact that people don't always meticulously truncate their samples and fade the end. So you get a bunch of clicks. You know, I'm way more meticulous than that, but yeah, and I can also take this and say, right there, put noise reduction, X click. I don't think it's making that much of a difference. Which means either I don't know what the hell I'm doing, which it could be the case. I don't use this much. Okay, it does make them a little bit softer. Don't really make that much of a difference. Yeah, I don't want none of those high frequencies anyway. Can I get more of a cue on that? Yeah. Yeah, that actually might be what I want from that. So we'll leave it there for now. But what we do know is we got a whole beat right here, so which is kind of giving us a pretty decent balance. So if you add this to that, right, it gives you a nice little groove. So I'm gonna leave that right where it is most likely. Let me see. Oh, I'm supposed to move this stuff over. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I don't like that. Let's go ahead and change it to grid. Wait, what? Bars and beats, homie. What? Yeah. Wait. Maybe not. Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna need to move those over. Oh, not that much. Let's change the nudge value to samples and make it 100. So we can move it like that. This is old school hip hop, so everything's not gonna be right on the grid. I just want a value where if I need to move something over or go directly to a part, I can do that. Right. So what is this doing for me? I like what that's doing for me. Okay, so my concern right now and what I want to make sure of is that whoever stacked these kicks knows how to stack kicks, and I'm not losing frequencies instead of gaining them. So what I'm saying is, when you stack things in the same frequencies, period, but especially bass, you have waves doing this. So like if you have waves doing this, that's cool. But if you have the same wave doing like this, it cancels itself out. It basically makes it zero, or it cancels some of it out depending on where in phase it is. You know, if you were to take the same exact wave and put it exactly in phase, then it would sound bigger. But if you put it exactly 180 degrees out of phase, it's gonna do this, right? Across time, right? That's what a wave does. It does this across time, right? So if you do this, when this is here, that's here. So the speaker is gonna be here. When this is here, that's here. The speaker is gonna be here because it's getting equal information from two different waves, and it's basically gonna cancel each other out. So you can't really do that in the digital realm with the wrong bass frequencies or with the same bass frequencies. If two kicks contain the same frequencies, then they need to happen at different times, meaning you could get the attack from one kick and then the other kick could come up and handle the release or the sustain, right? So every kick should have a different purpose, and it shouldn't be in the same frequency range, or unlike tape, which would make it sound bigger, the digital realm is not very forgiving when it comes to phase problems. So I'm listening to these to make sure that each kick that's cool. They're in different frequency ranges. Definitely different frequency range. I think that one sounds good too. We got to make sure is the kick that's in this isn't being bothered by one of the others. Okay, that should be cool. Just a little support. want to upset the balance, but I just want to add some support, which is most likely what the producer of this record wanted to do. Now, this is hip hop, so when it comes to the ultra low frequencies, you got a little more leeway when it comes to that as far as raising. It's cool when there's a backbeat in the track because it already sounds like something and I just started mixing. That doesn't always happen. There's one-on-the-one. It seems like that's interfering with something. Okay. I want to make sure this sounds good on smaller speakers. So what I'll do is, started that one. This one. Yeah. Right, now I can check that down a little bit. That way it won't blow your speakers, but it'll give you the sensation of bass. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm somewhere where everything is present so I can get a nice balance on the drums. Thank you. Thank you for giving me a snare to work with. I'm going to go to my API EQ from Waves. Ooh, 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 hey, I'm gonna give it a little snap. All right, that's what that sounds like. I love how the pitch on the rim shot, or the side stick is more accurately called, is right, it's alternating.
Moves fast, you gotta slow it.
It's in the key of something.
Life moves fast, you gotta slow it.
That's hot. That's dope. have here? Okay. Okay, that's. Let me see if that's actually a stereo sound. Definitely is. Okay. I feel like that's early. It needs to be nudged to the right, but I don't want to do that. Y'all ain't ready for that. Hey. Yeah, I kind of, hold on. Let me not. We're gonna do that right now. Let me stay. Because I gotta leave in like 45 minutes. I have a session in an undisclosed location with undisclosed people. Yeah, I'm gonna keep all the hi-hat stuff like that. Hey. Okay. I kind of like where that is, but again, let's be careful with our levels and make sure that. And if you notice, I'm not doing a lot of affecting right now. I'm just doing level adjustment because it's kind of cool to take a mix. It's kind of cool to take a layered, disciplined approach to mixing. Like I really want to hear it a certain way right now. So you go and you put the effects on it. What does it sound like just balanced? You know, the more you affect something, the more you deteriorate the original signal. Right? Every time you put an effect on something, it deteriorates to some degree the original signal. Even if it's inaudible, it's there to some degree. So if you over affect stuff, sometimes you take the human element out of it, and I don't want to do that. Just like that hi-hat that's early, I'll just pull it down and tuck it low enough so that it's not prominent in the mix enough to be a problem, but it does give that frequency that it's there to give, which might be what was intended by the producer. That's why it's really cool to mix your own stuff, because I know exactly what the intention was. All right, now we can play with the right speaker. I love that. I think this is the same thing. Yeah. Dope. First instinct, go compress it. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna take them all the way down. I'm gonna raise this one up. That's the one with the phaser on it. Until it's not trying to take over. And I can still hear it. Providing some balance for that hi-hat information on the left. Because remember, we got a hi-hat in the middle because we have the we got the break beat. I can do some things where I EQ each side differently with the backbeat so I can make it feel like, but I don't want to do that yet because now I'm just trying to see how the balance sounds. Okay, that's 11. Let's put that in the same place. I have to check all this after I take the phones off. Let's do that right now. See what the difference is between the biodynamics and the beats. I know the beats are not as comfortable, that's for sure. However, yeah, I might want to. Okay, it's banging way harder on these. I don't know if that's because it's really banging it hard or not. Feels good though. I think maybe pull down this one a little bit. Okay. Love it. All right. All right, let me see. I've never done this before, but I know that the Fab Filter EQ can do it, so let me just figure it out. Where is it? Default setting, AB. Boost high side. Oh wow, you can, wow. I didn't know that. Let's just look for stereo. Mid left right center voice great. Yeah. To make this where? Oh, it's in stereo mode right now. Okay, where is that? Am I just blind right now? Oh. Got you. Let's click a control to activate the menu. No, I don't want to do that. That's not what I meant to do. Okay, cool. I'm not going to spend too long on this. Click the split button underneath the buttons to duplicate the selected band, making two identical copies, one on the left. Click the split button underneath the buttons. Underneath the buttons. That's not very clear. Split. Okay, so now how do I know which band I'm working with? What if I do this? Okay. That's mid side, but I don't want side, I want right. Yeah. There it is. Right. Okay, so if I double click here, that's right. I would rather that be stereo. Okay, so let's do this. Like, yeah, so now that what was in the middle, it's important to use the speakers and, you know, your stereo imaging. That's really what I'm working on now simultaneously with the leveling. I'm working with the leveling of each speaker. So I'm also working on the stereo image. By the way, since okay. Let's use my drum master. My drum master is usually over here somewhere. Right there, right? Show that, make it active. Where are you, buddy? Not down there. Yeah. We want that. Okay. Thought I had to go. Drum master, no output. We're gonna put that out of drums, which is 1 and 2 on my Universal Audio Apollo 16. Remember, I do not go out of Pro Tools from a master channel. I don't sum in Pro Tools. Summing is taking all the tracks and making them down to less tracks, right? So I do sum in Pro Tools. I just don't sum down to 2 left and right. I sum down to 16 in Pro Tools. All my drums are on 1 and 2. So I'm going to send all of these by holding down Shift and Option to bus drum master. This comes in from drum master. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to disable the solos on these. Shift Option Command. All right. It means select all that are selected. Shift Option is do whatever to all of them that are selected, and then Command gets rid of the solo. So then I do it that way. Oh, okay. No. Yeah, we want that. Now I can solo this. And I can solo all the drums, right? Because I've gotten a balance on all of them now. The problem with that is now if I want to solo an individual drum, I got to go back and turn the solo back on and turn all the other ones back off. So, you can do it 2 ways. You can put the solo here, or you can leave this solo off and you can put the solos here. So no matter what you do here, it'll come out there. That's how I do other effects, like all my effects down here, the solo's off. So you'll still hear them if something else is soloed. But that's just effects, so it's all good. Know I'm a bass. I gotta send that out of bass, which is 5 and 6. Instantly, when you split out like that, the stereo image is gonna get better because of what it's going through over here. A dangerous 2-bus to a SSL compressor. For sure. Some of the way to that. There we go. That's hard. Okay. Bass, what are we doing? Okay, so this bass is doing 2 things. I kind of wish it wasn't doing that extra thing at the end, but I think it'll be fine. element on the bottom and the main element on top. So clearly this side chain that kick because this bass and this guy maybe not. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's just providing me some attack. And this is providing the release. Got you. Okay. As you can see, I'm still not doing anything heavy as far as sweeteners are concerned. Because one, what if it just sounds good when you balance it? You know? Sometimes we never find out because we're already putting, I gotta compress this, I gotta EQ this. You gotta remember, right? Back in the day, they had outboard gear for all this stuff. None of this stuff was in the box because there wasn't no box. It was tape going to outboard, patched to real outboard gear. So you couldn't put an LA2A on every track unless you had an LA2A for every track. And what studio has a compressor for every set of 2 mono or every stereo tracks? You know, a stereo compressor for every, you know. And a lot of these things are not stereo, so you know, that's not how it was. If you talk to somebody like Bruce Swedien, who mixed all the Michael Jackson stuff, well, really all of Quincy stuff, part of which happened to be Michael Jackson stuff. He didn't use a whole lot of compression because you had, you know, 2 or 3 compressors in the studio and you had all these different things going to the same compressor. You might have, you know, a compressor on a master bus where all the vocals are going to, but you got to record in a certain way. I mean, you put a certain amount of compression when you record because you know, but that's destructive processing, meaning you're not going to be able to change that later. So you got to be judicious about that. So, you know, there's always, what if it just sounds good? You know, just let it sound the way it sounds before you start putting a whole bunch of stuff in. Okay, tell you what, I'll fix that. Select all, shift option, input, no input. Right, that'll never happen again. All right, cool. I could also use the input that nothing's coming into. So I kind of want those under this. I pretty much mix from the top down. One of the reasons for that is because the computer processes from the top down. So things that are time sensitive should be at the top or the left side of the mixer, which kind of makes sense because you read from left to right. So drums being first, makes sense. Drums provide your vertical room. How loud your drums are, how hard your drums hit, gives you vertical space to put everything else in. If your drums hit this hard, you can't put everything else here. But if your drums hit this hard, you can put everything else here or up to right there. And then in the mix, the drums aren't loud, but everything was able to come up. So you get more level out of everything because of where you put your drums. They give you your headroom, your space vertically. Stereo is width, and effects create depth. All right, so reverbs, delays, choruses, things like that, they create depth. So you're creating a three-dimensional room when you're mixing. Right now, I'm just concerned about width and height. I'll take it all the way down and then just bring it up until you know what I'm saying? Yeah, drums are still snapping. I can hear that. I can compress that. But I could not compress that. If later I feel like I need to, then I'll just come back and compress it. Plus, I know I'm not going to finish this mix right now, so when I come back to it, I want to start from a particular place of some sort of balance. Sounds like some old school hip hop here. So it's the era. Back in this era, it wasn't about heavily affecting everything. It's about sampling it right, truncating it right, and getting it right in the device that you're doing it in. Not so much a whole lot of mixed tricks that came out 20 years after that. I don't want to take the hip hop out of it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Alright, so since this is 7.9, I'm gonna say, same thing for the other one for now. Okay, feel like I should just go ahead and compress. Let's use the white 2A. Alright, I gotta leave in like 10 minutes or so. Gotta pack up and go to a session at an undisclosed location with an undisclosed set of humans. Nice. Hey, come on. I love how ugly that is. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and affect that real quick. Put delay 1 and see what it sounds like. Oh, aha! Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Oh my god. I put no input for everything. I should have just unpatched whatever was going into it. Alright, so this is delay 1. Delay 2. Let's filter that a little bit. More feedback. Let it last forever, yo. Yeah. So now, here's the thing. When you're in real life, right, and you say, echo, does the echo come from you? Never. The echo comes from somewhere else. So I never put the delay where the original signal is, because that never happens in nature. All right, so I put that, I think I put that. Okay, I didn't put it anywhere. I put it on the right, right? But the delay will be on the left. Did like this to make sure this is on the left. Headphones, you can put it on either side. But normally your cable will be on the left side of your earphones. So if you have them on backwards, you'll do your whole mix thinking the right side's the left side. Hey. Now we got something else doing the same thing. What is this? I like that layering. Alright. Yeah, let's just tuck that underneath. I need some verb on that too. You're not gonna hear it right now. I haven't done this yet. Verb 1 and verb 3. Speaking of verb 1, I think I'm gonna send my drum master to verb 1. I know, right? Drums on a verb? Yeah, that's verb 1. Verb 1 is just there to make it sound bigger. almost non-existent trail, right? Yeah, all the way down. 0.2 is the decay time. That just makes things sound bigger. That's all it does. Makes your whole mix sound bigger. It's kind of a mastering thing. But I put it on almost everything in my mix. It just lifts the whole mix, gives everything more body. But you just want to put it up to where you can't really hear it unless you take it off. It just gets a little thinner and a little more empty. Slightly more life to it. I actually want less highs from this. Alright, I'm about to go. Let's just cut this. There we go. I might even do that here. Oh, no. Not completely, but cut off some of the highs. Might be a little hot. That sounds more hip hop to me. Uh. Yeah. Woo, that feels good. Oh, verb. I can dig the verb. Yeah. Send that back. All right, let's put an auto panner on this. I want this to move around. Am I in the wrong place? No. all the time though. What? No way. I don't have this. Okay, what? Okay. It might be because the mono plug-in. Okay. I can't. I don't have time to fool with that right now. Oh, that's soft too. Oh, but it's UAD. Okay. I endorse either one of them. I keep forgetting to call soft too, so I don't do. Alright, I gotta go. I gotta leave in like 20 minutes. Who knows how long I'll be there. But it's coming along. I'll reconvene probably tomorrow morning